隙間に日が差し込む時間揺れる影に君を探してた響くリズムが心をリセットして気まぐれに笑う空の模様カフェのガラスに映る姿を見た遠くの未来を夢に重ねてるスピーカーから流れるビートは熱く足元が踊る空目のコード日向のステップで時間を塗り替え風の中で踊ろうこの瞬間だけ見上げた空の
Yay, I just realized that I got an email that I was sort of waiting on, but now I have it. So looks like I got work to do. Whoopity-doo. Hello, welcome to my stream. Looks like my hair is starting to thin out up top. It's the price you pay when you get older. Speaking of which, that's the name of the stream is Midlife Crisis. I feel like I'm not acting my age. I think a lot of people don't acknowledge that enough, you know. Especially people my age. I think in a lot of sense, we're not acting our age. We don't see ourselves as, we see ourselves as much younger than we actually are. And I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. I mean, in my case, I never had kids, so I never had that sort of sense of the way you're supposed to act or that premature aging effect that kids tend to have on people. So I never had that. And I just don't, I don't know. I kind of speed ran my way through addiction and recovery and all of that. I did a lot of my hard partying and whatever when I was young and then grew out of it. And now I'm sort of just tucked in to a life that's, just waiting to die, counting the hours and minutes and seconds until that happens. There's a lot of time between, a lot of things, a lot of instances of nothing to do. And I'm to blame for that because I don't engage in anything, not as much as I used to. A lot of my friends don't do anything either. I try to reach out to other people and get involved in different projects and things like that, but I don't know these people, so I don't have any sort of real strong connection to them, so my involvement is tenuous at best, fizzles out pretty quick. Nobody wants to bring the old man in. You know, it is what it is. And that's when I'm kind of reminded of my age, you know, like I'm reminded that, you know, people see me for what I am. I see myself a certain way and they see a different me. And I've come to that realization too, that I go into situations still seeing myself as some punk kid who doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground. And I'm just like, don't want to look like an idiot, you know, don't want to put myself out there in such a way to where I stick my foot in my own mouth and make a fool of myself. And I just don't see myself as anything really. But when oftentimes I'll come onto a project or come on into some situation and people view me as like the elder statesman or the professional, you know, and I don't know how to relate to that. I don't relate to that at all. So when that happens, I just tend to, I'm like, they don't know how to process it because they're looking at me like, well, here's the guy with all the answers. Here's the guy who knows the business and knows the score and whatever. So we'll listen to him. And I'm over there like not saying anything and just being all, you know, apprehensive and, you know, in my own little world. They think I'm just some asshole, like I'm just judging people or something. I don't know, but there's this disconnect that they don't get, that I'm not seeing myself in the same way they see me. And that's been plaguing me for a while now, you know. I don't have I don't have the capacity to assign myself any great authority over anything. I don't feel like I'm an authority. If anything, I feel like I'm just a lucky bastard. And and with the situation with my job and everything over the past 5 months, it really has given me a lot of time to reflect on just how lucky I have been. And I can't deny that. I can't deny that, knowing that I'm going to be going potentially into a whole new environment where luck is no longer on my side, you know. And it scares me. It does, but it is what it is. The real thing that gets me is just like this whole not acting my age thing. And I just don't know if it's good or bad. Because it seems ridiculous to be of a certain age and then like doing, and you know, I guess I'm not really putting it out there the way I should be. I make it sound like, when I say things like, well, I'm not acting my age, I'm making it sound like, oh, I'm out there hitting the town and partying and being like, doing all this kid shit. It's not what I'm doing. It's the way I feel about myself. I mean, don't get me wrong. My activity level is like totally my age. Like I just sit around my house and do nothing. I think a lot about the possibility of doing things, but I'm so much of a kind of, I like to do things with other people, and other people motivate me to do things, and I don't feel self-motivated. So I tend to not do anything if, you know, I don't have anyone else involved in it. But ultimately, in my head, I perceive things so much differently than they probably really are. Maybe. It's hard for me to say. The older I get, the more I feel like I'm just kind of in my own continued like headspace of like, I don't talk to enough people anymore to get a good sense of where I am in scope and spectrum of social spheres. You know, I don't communicate with enough people to really know my place in the pecking order, so to speak. Ever since Sarah went to a new department at work, I haven't really had anyone to talk to at work anymore. I've really felt for the past 2 years plus now that I've just been kind of alone. It occurred to me earlier that my former boss left the company in 2018. It was the same year I bought this house. My new boss came in halfway through 2018, and it really, I had an employee working for me at the time who really just, I thought things were going to improve for him and get better, because he really didn't get along with my former boss. And I thought, well, now's the time, man. He's gone. He's retired. Like, so things are going to get better. But things only got worse. He just let it go. So that very next year, 2019, I had to fire him, and we started to look for another person. And by November, December of that year, we ended up solidifying on Sarah. Then COVID hits the very next year. So I'm in the process of training her when COVID hits. And then that all, like for that entire rest of that year, everything was just in crazy disarray. You know, nothing makes sense. And then for the next year, after even 2 years, I would say, a good 2 years after 2020, 2021, and about midway through 2022, things were just crazy, you know, and things didn't feel right. Things didn't feel real. Everything was kind of off kilter. But then she decided to take another job, another position, like 2023. I believe it was 2023. But ever since then, it's been like, I don't know. I've just been more lonely at work than I've ever been, and the weight of the weight of what had been burdening me ever since my former boss retired started to compound. And it's led me to what, you know, the situation I'm in now, where it's like, what do I do, you know? But ultimately, as I reflect on all this, I just think that I'm not entirely sure I have a decent plan. I'm far too nihilistic for my own good. And I don't know if what I'm experiencing now is in direct relation to the possibility of me losing my job, or if it's just my perspective having shifted. See, a lot of people believe that what's going on with me now is as a result of what I learned in January about possibly losing my job. Which, by the way, June 30th, that's still the date. That's still holding out till then to find out what they ultimately decide. So, 28 more days until I face the music, so to speak. But I feel like this has been going on for a lot longer. And if you ask people who I've talked to in the time since my former boss retired, I think they would all echo the same sentiment, that I've been talking about this for years, many, many years now. And it's only gotten worse and worse and worse. And I think what's been really troubling me for the past 5 months has been the culmination of a lot of that coming to fruition, and the realization that I feel like I've been living a lie. I feel like I got duped, and I've just been fooling myself for many, many years now. And holding on to this fantasy that I was going to have security by sticking with my job and sticking with my employer, that I was going to be able to stay there till retirement, and then be able to retire at a decent age, and then enjoy the rest of my life doing whatever. And buying into this, buying into the system, buying into the old story. And to realize that that's probably not going to happen and then to be dumped out the other end in my late 40s, and then said, well, good luck with that. I feel as though that's where the midlife crisis concept comes from, because I don't feel old enough to be like, well, that sucks. My life's over now. I didn't make it to retirement and they kicked me out too close to retirement. Now what do I do? I get these tinges and these feelings of, I can still do things. I'm still young enough to get out there and mix things up and make things happen. But I don't know if that's true. I don't have that kind of confidence in myself to believe that I can. I may mentally think these things and feel that way, but my actions don't really reflect that. And it's like there's this disconnect where I'm not putting that aspect of it together, where I'm believing that I can do these things, but the reality is I can't. And that's kind of a fearful situation, because in the event that I have to move on, I don't know how I move on or what I move on to, because it's like, what can I do? What is it that I think that I can do that I'm not already trying to do or have already tried to do? And if I could do it, why wasn't I doing it before? Is it really the fact that I believed so strongly in the fact that I was set in my career path and that I was going to retire from my current job, that I just didn't bother to take any sort of opportunities? Or were no opportunities present? Am I not as good at what I do as I believe I am? I mean, these are all questions that I have, because it's like, I think everyone has a tendency to lie to themselves. And I sometimes feel like that's what I've been doing. Like, I have no way, I can't justify that I'm good at anything that I do, because nothing I've done has actually amounted to much of anything. I mean, it would be different if I was like, hey, this is that guy that directed that movie, or was the producer on some television show, or something that was in the cultural zeitgeist that you could point to and say, well, he did this, he was part of this. Like, no, I have nothing of that magnitude or that claimed fame or anything. I don't have a successful YouTube channel, never have, never will. I have no streaming career that's amounted to anything. All of my video work is underground and not seen by anyone. And the reality is that I'm a guy who basically works in a town of 1,500 for a small cable company, and I make small market television commercials, and there was nothing much more beyond that I was qualified or capable of doing. So what do you do when that's over and there's nobody else hiring, and you have to take a long, hard look at your situation and say, do I try to convince myself that I'm good enough at this to take a stab at it and try to get a job in another city, in another state, for another company doing something similar or something to that effect? I don't know. Or do I just relegate myself to the fact that I was just lucky for a very, very long time, leave it at that, and try to restart at the age I'm at, doing work that I would rather not do. But I also have to contend with the fact that I still have my issues that cause me to struggle with work, that have always caused me to struggle with work. And I don't think anything's changed in that regard. Anything at all. So going back to a job in a workplace that's very, very just, like, I get bored really, really easily. So working on a line, working in a factory or a warehouse or whatever, where, there's downtime and time between this, time between that, and the job you're doing is just menial tasks and a whole lot of nothing. It's easy to see how I wouldn't be able to stick it out at a job like that, because after a long enough period of time, it would just grind me down to a nub. I would get to a point ultimately where I'd be like, I just can't do it. I can't stay focused enough. I can't convince myself that standing on this line for 8 hours a day is worth it, And that frightens me. My wife and I went hiking this past weekend, and I had brought up the idea of us separating because I really felt as though I felt as though things just were going to end up going that way anyway, that she was going to leave me because things were going to go back to the bad old days, and whatever she believed, whatever view she had of me now is not going to last when things return to the bad old days. And she loses all faith in me. She loses all, and all she sees is just a bum who can't keep a job and refuses to try, and she ends up having to do all the work, and it weighs on her and weighs on her, and eventually she cracks. She did it before. I'm sure she'll do it again. So I thought, well, why don't we just call it what it is? You know, why don't I just, here's what I would propose. Like, basically, I'll give you everything. You know, I'll give you the house. I'll give you the cars. I'll give you everything I got. Everything. I'll give you my pension. I'll give you my 401k. All of the retirement that I had saved up to this point, I'll give to you. You can buy the house, you know, pay off the house, do whatever. And I'll just go off and try to make my way doing whatever I can do. Now, she was bothered by the fact that I was just so cavalier about it, but she also was like, one of the things that comes up is like, well, if you can do that for yourself, why couldn't you do that with her? It's like, well, it's a complex thing. On my own, I'm not a very materialistic person by any means. My needs and desires are very, very minimal, surprisingly minimal. And I feel like I could get by on almost nothing. But if I try to do that with her, by staying with her and just working at, you know, a job that just makes me happy and provides me enough money to get by and, you know, whatever I need for sustenance and keep a roof over my head. That's no different than not working at all to her. You know, that's essentially the same thing as they're equivalent. Like, she mentioned it, like, she kind of confirmed my fears when we were talking the weekend before. And she was mentioning how, like, she feels like she doesn't want me to sell myself short. And I was like, you know, that's a very interesting statement. That is a very interesting statement. And I know what you mean. I know what you mean right now in this moment, but I also know that 2 to 3 years down the road, you're going to change the meaning of that statement to mean something else. Like, right now, you mean that I shouldn't just settle for some job like she has when I'm capable of doing so much more, and I can, if I just try and put a little effort in, I can find something similar to what I'm doing now and be happy again at my job. But 3 years down the road, when I'm working a job like, I don't know, making pizzas, a delivery driver, some other menial job, she will turn that statement into, she knows that I can make more money. Essentially is what that comes down to. She, by virtue of the fact that I used to have a job where I made a lot of money, that if I just applied myself more and tried harder, that I could get back into a good paying job, and then she wouldn't have to work so hard, and she wouldn't have to work at these jobs she hated, and blah, 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 blah. Which to me is like, it creates a situation where it's like, if she can't work for the things that she wants, like, she wants this house, she wants a nice vehicle, she wants campers, she wants vacations, you know, She wants to have money to go out to eat every weekend and just blow money on whatever she wants. Go out to visit her sister in New Jersey every year. She wants all of that. She should be able to work to make the money to be able to do those sort of things. And I feel that's why I say that if we were not together, that's the reality she would have to face. That if these are the things that she wants, these are the terms in which she has to live by to get those things. She has to have a job like this. She has to make this amount of money, if she wants those things. She can't just put it all on me and say, why aren't you providing these things for me so I don't have to work at this job that I hate to get these things that I want? It's like, because I don't share your vision of what you want. I don't want these things. I don't care about these things. I like my freedom. I like having time to do the things that I want to do. And I can settle for less. I can settle for a crappy car, a small house, eating whatever little food I eat, and not taking elaborate trips every year or whatever, I can settle for that. As long as that means that, I can, in order to pay for those things, I don't have to work at a shitty job that I fucking hate, that's driving me nuts. I can work at a job where I'm like, it's not the best, it's not the worst, it doesn't pay great, but it pays enough, and I'm happy. I just want to be happy. And then she'll tell me things like, well, I just want you to be happy. It's like, well, what if working at like Domino's Pizza making pizzas, it makes me happy? What if that truly makes me happy? Honestly. And I see in her face when I tell her that right now, she will not accept it. She will not accept it. She can't understand how just working a fuck off job would ever make me happy. And that's because we're two different people. We're two completely different people. And I'm not materialistic. I like socializing with people. I like having work banter. I like having a job that I don't feel like I'm responsible for everything, that my decisions have far-reaching impacts on and detrimental to the company, and that people are relying on me to come up with solutions to solve problems within the, I want to go back to being a toad, like a peon, and just having fun. And but then that's what brings me back around. Like, is that a midlife crisis? Is that me not like thinking I'm younger than I am and that I don't have the responsibilities I have, or I'm just going to shirk the responsibilities I have and say, fuck it, I just want to be irresponsible, like kid and whatever. I don't know. And the problem is that once I commit to a decision like that, once I start down a path like that, I mean, I'm destroying a lot in the process. I'm literally just going through and causing all sorts of havoc to carve out a path to create a future like that. And I don't think you can go back from a lot of the decisions that have to be made in order to secure that sort of future, I don't see that as a possibility. So that's part of my ongoing stress and tension and anxiety, is that I feel like I don't get to test the waters. I don't get to try things out. I don't feel like I'm in control of anything, really. I feel like I'm getting bullied into decisions that are beyond me, that I don't get to make. And then I'm just getting shoved around and pushed around into different corners and different things. And I just have to fucking take it. And I've been doing it for 5 months now. It hasn't felt good. I can attest to that. But it's all I have left to do to hold on to the job that I currently have. until they finally make a decision on, you know, what to do with me or to get rid of me or whatever, you know. So I tried to apply at a few other jobs. I got turned down for all of them. So, I mean, that doesn't help my situation much at all. The problem I run into is that when I put down what I do, what I've done for the past 21 years on a resume, and I'm applying for a job that has nothing to do with that, everyone reads it the same way. Like, why the hell would we hire this guy? He doesn't have any experience. All he's done is this for the majority of his life. Like, we don't know what else he can do. I mean, I am not even being, I'm not even being facetious in the slightest or hyperbolic at all when I say I'd have a better shot at getting a job today had I spent the last 20 years in prison than I would having spent the last 20 years at my current job. I mean, it's fucking insane. But it is what it is, you know? It is what it is. I mean, what can you do? I debated on whether or not to do this stream. I really did, because this is one of those things that I do from time to time that I don't really put enough effort into to follow through with, to keep a schedule going or to keep anything going. I just don't, I can't explain it. I mean, for most people, it's like the easiest thing in the world. You just throw a camera on and, you know, throw a camera on. You turn on a webcam, you start up a stream, and you just start fucking jawing on and maybe watch something, maybe comment on somebody else's video. Like, anyone can do it. Everyone can do it. Blah, blah, blah. That's true. A lot of people do it. A lot of people. So many people, in fact, that it's probably almost impossible today to actually get any headway with it. But people still try. I've never really been into that. I guess the reason is because I'm a self-centered fuck. And I just don't spend any time looking into other people's lives, and I don't know. I try to explain it away that way, but I've never been interested in drama at all or things like that, you know, so that rules me out of that. I've never been a fan of anything enough to like just, and I've never been autistic enough or whatever to like do deep dives into subject matters that interest me. I was doing the indie film thing, watching that on stream for a while, but then that just started to really make me sad. It made me depressed, because I'm like, this is something that I'm interested in, but look at all these films that people make and they just go nowhere. They pour out money, time, effort, all this concern. They build it up in their hearts and their minds. Oh, this is going to be so great. And then they put it out there, and it lingers for a little bit, and then poof, it's gone. And now it's like you're watching indie films on YouTube is like coming across a mass grave, you know? It's like you just see these corpses of dreams just lying around, and you sift through them and pick through it, and it's depressing. It's so fucking saddening, because it's so much creative effort and so much time put into something for it to just go nowhere. And I don't want to spend my time thinking about that and wasting my time doing fucking something that I care about and I'm very much interested in and passionate about. And deep down inside of me, no, it's not going to amount to anything. I don't know. I get it. I'm a painter, painted my whole life and made a lot of good art, but no one appreciated it really. Yeah, I mean, I've done a lot of fucking shit. I've been a musician, songwriter, musician, artist, painter, video production, tried to make films, tried to do this and that. I've done so many different artistic things. And it's like, it doesn't really, I mean, the truth of the matter is, it's like, there's a lot, it's like 50% luck, and then the other 50% is really networking. I mean, in the art world alone, it's like, you don't even really have a name in the art world unless you're fucking die. You know, it's like, then you have to have like that. I've always hated the art world because it seems so pretentiously false. It seems like it has nothing to do with the work, and it has nothing to do with the style or the technique that's, you know, put into it. It has everything to do with what certain people think about the work. Like, if your work impresses certain people, then it carries more value, even if it really doesn't have any intrinsic value. It's who likes your work. Then it's a cult of personality sort of thing. Then you're not really, you're making your art, and then you're spending equal amounts of time, if not more time, out schmoozing and networking and getting your work out there so people can see it and comment on it and do whatever. So they will then help solicit and promote it and put it out there and puff it up into something that, you know, it could potentially be or whatever. And that is wrong. Am I wrong for fucking thinking that? Am I wrong for thinking that art should be about art? And I guess when it comes down to it, art is art. Like, no one can stop you from making art. But there's a reality at play where if it doesn't mean something to you, if it's not genuine and you're not passionate about it, and you're just doing it for a paycheck, then yeah, you are in the wrong business. You know, art is something that should just freely come from people and should be an expression of them, you know, and it should mean something more so to them than anyone else. It should, I mean, and it should be taken as that. But there's millions of people like that who make art all the time, and you'll never know about them. Gather in the middle of a room and drink wine and try to see who can hook up with art. It comes down to appreciation. You just want to be appreciated. Yeah, well, I get that. I understand that. I think that's the desire of everyone who does it. Musicians, artists, filmmakers. You want people to see your work and say, that's good. But here's the problem. If you're any good at what you do, and you're a good artist, I always consider good artists to share one intrinsic quality, and that's no one is ever going to satiate your desire to impress people. No one is ever going to be able to say, man, that's good. And by them saying that, it impacts you in such a way to where you are like, you're fulfilled. You know, you'd be like, man, that's really good. I really like what you did here. This is really good piece. Great. And in the back of your mind, you're saying, oh, thank you. That means so much. But in the back of your mind, you're thinking, yeah, but who are you? What do you know? I mean, yeah, you probably like shit too. You know, it's like, you're judging these people who are showing you appreciation for what you've done. Because in most cases, it is kind of offhand compliments. Like, people just throw that shit out, like, because it's free. It costs nothing. It takes no effort and costs nothing to tell somebody, oh, I like your work. But no one ever really stops you and fully explains to you how your work and your art changed them, moved them, done something, whatever. Like, you don't get like the full synopsis. You're not being convinced by someone that you've done something great. You're just getting the offhand remarks. You're getting the typical, what great work. I mean, every indie filmmaker has surrounded and band and whoever, musician, songwriter, whatever, have surrounded themselves with people who shower them with praise, be it family, friends, whatever. And they soak that in, and it's like, oh, people love what I do. It's so great. It's like, yeah, but there's consequences if they don't, because they all know you. I mean, they're helping you out and they're making you feel better about yourself. It's like, try to find a stranger to give you those same compliments. I mean, that's hard. That's difficult, because most people don't have the time, and they don't care, and they're just not going to fucking do it half the time. So it's like, that's the accolades and the attention people want from their art. And that's the hardest to get. But then even when you do get it, it's like, it's just not good enough. You want somebody that or at least feel knows what they're talking about, to come say, this guy gets it. He knows what he's doing. This guy's work's good. And then, even then, who knows? Maybe, you can appreciate it more, but still in the back of your mind, like, I could always do better. You don't see all the things wrong with my work that I see. Your opinion doesn't matter then. Well, I don't think it's that that people don't see the flaws or the faults. It's that I think in a lot of cases, especially from my point, it's like, somebody could say, oh, I really like this thing you did, but then they'll also like something that I'm like, what? How can anyone like that? Like, and this person will like that, but they'll also like something I did. And it's like, well, that devalues the quality of your liking of my work. If my work is now lumped in with this, I don't know. I think about that in the context of songwriting specifically, because that's what I've done the most of in my life. And I think I've thought back about this. I was actually talking to a friend of mine this past Friday that I was in a band with for almost my entire life. And just reflecting back on the fact that, there's so many songs I've written over my life that no one's ever heard and that haven't mattered to anyone. And then I was like, in a lot of cases, the music I've written, nobody knows it's me. Like, if they liked it, they liked it because it was associated with a band that they were fans of, and that's as far as the liking went. It's not like, oh, that song was written by this guy, he did a really good job. Like, no, we liked the band, so we liked the song they made. Some people have favorite songs of certain bands, and I happen to be in one band that, it wasn't super popular, but it had a nice little small fan base around here. And I wrote some songs for that band that it kind of resonated with people, and that made me feel good. But they didn't really start hearing it until after I was kicked out of the band. So it's like, I never even really got the accolades for it. It was just like, those guys kept playing my song. I actually got into it with them a few years after I got kicked out, when they were talking about the song and how they all wrote it. I'm like, you guys didn't write that song. I wrote that song. That is my song. I wrote that from start to finish. And we kind of had it out for a little bit, but it was like, it's like, credit where credit's due, motherfucker. I mean, for the love of God, when there was a lot of songs that we wrote together where I'm like, yeah, like you credit the entire band, but that was one particular song where I wrote the lyrics, I wrote the fucking rhythm, I wrote literally everything. And it was like, I even came up with the vocal arrangements on the chorus and the pre-chorus. And I was just I was perturbed by that they were trying to take credit for it and not like, tell people, hey, no, that was written by, because the whole thing kind of went down a little bad, my being kicked out of the band. But beyond that, there was like a lot of musical projects I was involved in, a lot of things that I did, a lot of songs I wrote on my own. And I just feel like in a lot of cases, I don't even know how to feel about my own work in a lot of the time, because I'm very, 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 very particular about what I do. And oftentimes I feel like the work that I put in to try to make something better or to make something the best that it can be always makes it worse. And the stuff that I barely have any, I just turn on a tape recorder and ding, 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 and I just fucking play. That's the shit that everyone likes. It's like, and that's the stuff I end up liking too. It's like, it just worked out better because I didn't overthink it. I didn't put in too many different parts and try to make it some sort of like, oh, it's got to be like, it's got to flow from like change to change, and it's got to really impress people and blah, blah, blah. And people just want simple. People want melodies, and they just want it to be a simple melody that they can sing along with, and it's something catchy and snappy. And I used to be able to do that, but I stopped a long time ago. Bro, you look like Mick Foley with the old school wrestler. I do. Well, I can assure you I'm not. Mick Foley. Wow. I just fucking, I've been really, really down on myself for the past 5 months. Very, very down on myself. And it has nothing more to do with the fact that I'm losing my job. And I've been very, very lucky for a very long period of time. Very lucky. Luckier than most people. And I am a fool because I let that luck. I took for granted how lucky I was. I mean, I kind of always knew, but I really took for granted the luck that I had. And I didn't make any additional ed. But I also mentioned this earlier, like, it's not like people were beating down my doors to hire me or like, hey man, they're trying to steal me away from the company I worked for. So I often feel like I have this inflated sense of self, like I'm not as good as I think I am. Which is to say that I think I'm good at all. But it's like, that puts me in a weird predicament when it comes to moving forward with my life. Like, what do I do? What does a person of my advanced years do with my life when the thing I've been doing for 20 years is over? I don't know. There's so many questions and there's so many things, and it all, I don't know. Another thing that's bothered me, me. Yeah. There is a local production. Oh, I do walk dogs. I walk dogs every single day. I have 2 Australian Shepherds, and I take them out in the country. And I have to take them out in the country to walk them because one of them will kill other dogs. He is a dog killer. And I can't take him to the dog park because he will try to kill the other dogs. So I have to take him out where there's nobody and walk him out in the country. But I was contacted. There's this dude who I cast in a commercial a year or 2 ago, and he was wanting me to work on a movie with him. He sent me a script, and we've been kind of bouncing that back and forth. And then he told me, hey, there's these people, around where you live who are wanting to make a movie, and they're looking for a cinematographer. So I passed your name along. And I was like, all right, cool. So I called the guy, and I was like, hey, if you're interested in this, and talking about, possibly doing, something together, cool. He calls me back. We have a conversation, and then it's like, yeah, let's set up a time to meet. I feel really good about this, blah, 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 blah. I was like, cool. Weeks go by, weeks, week after week after week. I'm like, are we going to do something here? And then he texts me like, hey, we found some guy who can do sound and all this stuff, and we're getting really hyped, and all this stuff's come together. Can't wait to meet and talk to you. I'm like, when do you want to meet up? When do you want to meet up? Let's meet up. Well, come to find out, they didn't want to meet up. Instead, they found a whole other guy to do cinematography for him. They've already gone out and shot like a preliminary sort of teaser trailer to get a Kickstarter campaign going to get some funding for the movie they want to shoot this summer. and they completely fucking ghosted me on the project. And I'm like, what the fuck happened? Like, what in the fuck happened? It's like, that's one of those things where it's like, we were talking, like we were in communication. You said you liked the work that you've seen I've done. You seemed excited to get together and talk, but then all of a sudden, boom, you're out. I'm like, this is fucking bizarre. And that's weighing on me too, because it's like, what could I have possibly done? I reached out to the guys and like, hey, you still want to meet up and blah, blah, blah. And they confirmed like, yeah, we're just looking for a time. And that was it. And I mean, that's one of those things where it's like, maybe they just, because they're all younger than me. So they're all like, oh, we don't want to bring this old guy in. I don't know. It's easy to sort of get down on myself because I'm getting passed over on things like that. But it's like, you know, it's just bad timing is what it is. It's happening at a time where I'm already at a low point because of what's been going on in my personal life. And I'm torturing myself every fucking day with how the hell I'm going to be able to move forward from this, you know? And with my brain being the way it is, it literally is everyday torture. I can't shut my brain off. I thought for the first time in a long time about drinking. I mean, but that is not an answer. How old are you? I am 48. 48. I am going to be 49 in October. So, yes, I am an old fuck. I've been hanging on to my job forever. I live in the middle of nowhere. I am jaded as hell and have a very, very, very low opinion of myself and virtually everyone I come in contact with. Oh, you're 48 too? Oh, welcome to the fun. Maybe the Midlife Crisis title is what roped you in, because you turned 48 on June 20th. Yeah, getting older, I was all fine with it. I was kind of coping with it for a long time because it's like, you know, I have a good job. I make decent enough money, and I have a pretty good retirement plan. I was like, you know, I stick it out with this company till retirement. Everything's fine after that. That's the way it's supposed to be, right? You work at a job, you get to retirement, you retire. Unless they decide to fire you. You should be happy and bald. I should be happy, but maybe, just maybe, if by the end of the month I keep my job, maybe happiness will return. But at this point, I'm still in the torturous state of flux of not knowing what my future holds. And I should be happy by the fact that, I mean, because if you would have, like, what have I lost? My mind. I've lost 126 pounds in the past year and a half. That's a lot of fucking weight to lose. A lot of it was my own choice. But the last 50 pounds was due to the stress. I lost the last 50 pounds this past 5 months. And that was due to anxiety and stress. What is your work? I make television. Okay, let me reiterate. I make small cable market television commercials. I make local television commercials. Commercials no one would ever see. That's what I make. Been doing it for a long time. I started back in 2004 on shooting on DV cameras, like a PD-170. Sony PD-170 is what I started out on, and have worked my way up to digital cinema cameras. And it's been a long journey and a lot of learning and adapting and, doing things over the course of time to change things up, get better at what I do. Bouncing from different program. I started out on Final Cut Pro, ended up, migrated over to Adobe Premiere, and now I'm working with DaVinci Resolve. And having a good time with it. But with AI and because let's face it, cable's going away. I've been saying this for years. I mean, I get to see our subscriber counts dwindle year after year. So cable advertising is absolutely going away. The value is just not there anymore. Everyone's talking about social media and social media marketing. And I'm like, I can make social media clips for, TikTok, YouTube, Shorts, Instagram, Facebook. I can do all of that. But I work for a company that doesn't understand how to do it. See, the problem is I am a production guy. I can make all of this stuff. What I can't do is market it, sell it, and come up with marketing strategies and branding things. And I'm not a go in, meet with a company, sit down and figure out their marketing strategies and be able to speak that lingo and jargon. I am a production guy. That's what I know how to do. The problem is I don't have anyone who knows the other end of it to provide me work, at least not anymore. So you could just say talent's going to waste now. The company has decided, since no one's utilizing me in any sort of discernible way, best get rid of that guy. Let's keep the people who aren't doing their job. Because there's a marketing director for the company, but as far as I can tell, the only thing he's good at is going to meetings and going to seminars and other things like that. There's a lot of things he doesn't know, but there's a lot of, I could bitch about my current employer till the cows come home, but the reality is that nothing makes sense. They don't know what to do with me. They don't have any other position in the company that they can transition me into. Here's how fucking crazy it is. We have a position that's opening up. There's opening up now. They're hiring for it, right? It's basically just a cable installer job. Technician cable installer, fiber cable installer, whatever. It's a pay cut, sure. It's a completely different job, sure. But it keeps me with the company. I mean, it would be somewhat of a pay cut, but not a significant enough pay cut for me to not consider it. But it would keep me with the company, and it would keep my pension going and my retirement package going. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'll do it if it allows me to keep that. And at least then I'll be in a job that the company deems worthy, and I'll be able to make it to retirement after all. But now I haven't heard anything back about it. I haven't heard a fucking thing. I put in I signed myself up to be considered for that job like a month ago, and I have not heard a thing back about that. So I'm like, what is going on? Like, literally, do you just want to get rid of me? Is it me? It's like, I don't get that at all, because I have 20 years of impeccable, annual reviews that I could pull out at a moment's notice and be like, what does all this mean? Why is it every manager and supervisor I've ever worked for just give glowing reviews of me and talk about how I'm great, and they don't have to even manage me. I'm self-managing, and everything they task me to do, I follow through on, I keep up with, and I make sure I get done, and I'm a dependable worker, blah, 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 blah. It to me, it like flies in the face of everything that I've ever been told and ever been shown. It's like, work hard, be dedicated, work your way up through the company and things will work out for you. Well, I did all of that. And I'm now going to be laid off from my fucking job after 20 fucking years. It makes no sense. No sense. And to beat a fucking dead horse, to beat a horse to fucking death, we're having issues with our ads. See, now I've become an engineer. See, I can't just make the commercials, shoot and edit the commercials and apply some sort of creative flair or whatever, blah, blah, blah. I now have to become an engineer. So all of our commercials, it's called ad insertion, where you're watching a channel, commercial break comes on, local ad gets inserted into the commercial feed. Like, we work with this company that sends metadata through the channel, has its own dedicated stream specifically for these metadata triggers. It's called SCTE25 code. It replaces Q tones from the past, but that's a whole other story. Once this metadata comes down the pipe, it triggers this machine, this computer, to start playing an ad. Seems simple enough, right? Well, to insert the ad into the stream, the ads have to be the same structure, the same encoding profile. For years, they weren't. But for some reason, they worked. Because I set all this stuff up back in 2023, and the ads just played. And I never thought anything more of it. I'm like, well, they played. Screw it. Whatever. Because we got this new system. I should preface that. In 2023, we got a new system, and I had to re-encode everything and make sure it would play. It all started playing, and then, all right, cool. But then we started having these volume issues where you'd play back the commercial one time, or one commercial would play, the volume was really loud, and then you play it back again, or another commercial would play, be really soft. We couldn't figure it out. Well, I finally was like, okay, I'll look into it. So I started tasking myself with that, looking into it, and I figured out what the problem was. Tried to solve it, and then ended up screwing everything up. Like, all the ads stopped playing. They would not play at all. No new ads would play. None of the old ads would play. And for an entire month, we had no ads. I'm like, and I'm panicking. I'm like, what's going on? What? And they just keep saying, well, they're not encoded properly. They're not encoded properly. I'm like, okay, well, explain to me how I need to encode them properly so I can get them encoded properly. No, crickets. No one says anything. So I have to do blind reverse engineering based on whatever information I can come up with, which, by the way, is almost impossible. You try to Google anything that has to do with MPEG TS, and good fucking luck. Good luck finding information that's going to be of any real merit or value. I had to teach myself. Also, we live in an era where all of this stuff's going away. So trying to find an encoder that would actually give me the flexibility to do the things I need to do, you're just not finding it anymore, because this is all old. This is all antiquated stuff. It's all obsolete. It's all going away. So nobody's putting any time or money into it. So that brings me around to finally having to learn FFmpeg. And I don't know if you know what FFmpeg is, but it's like, it's literally like it's command line coding encoder. It's like you basically do everything through command line. You load your files in, you set up all your encoding parameters. You can copy stuff over from existing files. You can actually do encoding. You can copy files over, which in the case of what I need to do, and I know I'm getting into the weeds, but it's the only way I know how to do it. Our streams, our program streams on cable have one video. I mean, from what we're doing, one video stream, which is an H.264 stream of varying bit rates and this and that, blah, blah, blah. And then 3 audio streams, one AC3 Dolby Digital stream, 6-channel, encoded at 384 kilobits or 448 kilobits, depending on the channel, and 2 additional AAC streams, low complexity AAC streams of 96 kilobits and 56 kilobits, respectively. So I had to figure out how to encode these at the proper encoding parameters and how to mux all these together. Well, after trial and error, long story short, I ended up having to learn FFmpeg and how to do it in that. And then I finally got this shit running. Until Friday of this last week, when they all stopped working again. So I'm right back to the drawing board. I'm doing tests again, having to send the spots out, send test schedules, trying to see if this shit'll work or not. And at the end of the day, what do I get? What's the prize that I receive for all this work and everything that I've been doing for the past 4 months? We're eventually turning it over to another company. Yeah. We're just going to turn it all over to another company. They're going to be doing it all. So why am I doing it now? I don't fucking know. Management stopped talking to me 5 months ago. I am flying fucking blind. I can't express enough how insane my situation is. I go into work. I do whatever. Sometimes I have work to do. Sometimes I don't have work to do. I'm doing all this like encoding stuff, trying to figure all this out just to get some spots running, just because the company hasn't hammered out a deal yet to have another company do it yet. But I'm just making it up as I go. No one even told me to do any of this. I'm doing it because if I don't, then our ads aren't running. But they don't care. They don't fucking care. No one said, hey, somebody's got to jump on this and do something about it. I'm the one who's saying, hey, we're not airing ads right now. We're missing out on revenue. Who's going to do this? I guess it's me. I'll go ahead and do it. And then I start reporting it to the higher ups and they're like, sounds good. Keep going. Keep doing it. Glad to hear you're working it out. Oh, that sucks. Well, just keep working on it. Well, thanks for the direction. Thanks for letting me know that what I'm doing is even what you want me to do. Thanks for letting me know that I'm not just wasting my fucking time. Hey, and while you're at it, why don't you tell me if this is actually improving my chances of keeping my fucking job? Or am I just spinning my wheels because I'm flying fucking blind here? It's the most insane and unnerving scenario I've ever been involved in my life. I thought many, many times about quitting just so I don't have to fucking deal with it anymore. Just to put myself into a job where I go in, I know what my job is. I go in and do my job and I come home and I stop thinking about my fucking job when I come home. That's what I want. More than anything, that's what I want. I want to walk away from my job at the end of the day and leave my job at my job. I can't do that. I haven't done that in ages. I've literally been on the clock for 14 years. On the clock all the time. Never, I take this shit home with me. There's times I've had to go into the office at 4 in the fucking morning because of some bullshit. I'm never away from that office. But the reality is my biggest booster retired 7 years ago. And ever since then, no one's really known what the fuck I've done. And the people who've taken over have shit the bed, haven't done anything. They're trying to scramble to try to get some stuff done or whatever. And it doesn't look like anything's happening. And the best part, the piece de resistance. The company I work for has never laid anyone off. Now, they've fired some employees. They've fired employees for doing bad things. They fired employees for missing too much work. They fired employees. Employees have quit. They've never laid anyone off. I will be the first employee they've laid off, and they'll have zero reason, justification, at all or whatever to lay me off. 21 years of work history, impeccable work history. I'm friends with a lot of people at work. Everyone says the same thing. Oh, I don't think they're going to let you go. I can't imagine they're going to let you go. I've already been let go. This is what people don't understand. The decision was made in November of last year. The only reason we're coming to June 30th is because the chief operating officer of the company told the owner of the company, we can't let him go until second quarter of this year because we got to be able to justify, we can't let him, because he wanted to let me go in March. And he was like, no, we got to wait until June because we can't let him go during the first quarter because that's notoriously a bad time for, finances and whatever. And it just doesn't look good. We'll let him go in June, in the second quarter because that's enough time to justify, hey, didn't have enough money in the department to justify it. Sorry, pal. Hit the bricks. So yeah, I'm already gone. They're just doing it at a time that's more economically convenient for them. Probably legally convenient for them. They're playing kick the can for their own benefit, and I'm just going along with it. I feel like a fucking loser. I am a loser. And the righteous kick to the fucking nuts is that I can't move on from this. I can't, there's nowhere else around here that would hire me because nobody knows what the fuck I do. I live in a cornfield. I live around a bunch of hillbillies and country bumpkins. Now, granted, the work I've done for clients in the past, they all recognize what the work I've done. They've all been appreciative of the work I've done. They all think it's fantastic. Will they pay me for it? No. That's the definitive dividing line between we think you do a good job. Oh, we're not going to pay for that. What do you like? Why would we don't value it that much? So it is what it is. And also, one of the biggest aspects of why I kind of look forward to leaving this job overall is because doing commercials is a creative black hole. I mean, I've been wanting to make a movie for years now, decades even. But I can't bring myself to do it because I just get tired of seeing these cameras and seeing this equipment and setting this stuff up and doing that. Like, it feels like every time I get near it, it's like, it's just work. It's just more work. If it wasn't my fucking work, my daily work, and I feel like I would have more appreciation for it and I'd want to do it. I'd have more passion in my own personal life to do it. But since it's my job, I slack off. I'm like, I'll get around to it. I don't want to do it. Like, 'cause I'm doing it all the time. I'm doing it all the time for hospitals and car dealerships and different companies like that. I'm not doing it for myself. I'm doing hokey, like get the grandkids in the commercial and wave at the camera. And I'm not doing things that matter or to me and mean something to me. Tell a story that I want to tell. And I don't even know anymore after that many years of doing that hokey stuff, if I even have the capacity to tell a meaningful and genuine story. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to come out like a fucking commercial. It very well could, That's has been my bread and butter. Maybe I can't even make anything longer than 30 seconds. Maybe that's what I'll do. That's what I'll do from now on. I'll make 30-second movies because I can't do anything else because my fucking brain is programmed to do only that. I see everything in quick cuts and everything's got to be fucking rapid fire. And I mean, who knows? Maybe in this day and age, that's exactly what people want. I don't know. Is any of this interesting? I don't feel like it is. God, I fucking do all that goddamn. I'll do that later. I have encoding I have to do. And I have to get it done before midnight. But it is what it is. 30-second movies would be perfect for the TikTok audience. That's, yeah, I mean, that's, but I'm not even on TikTok. I don't even think I could relate to, like, I feel like I get to a point, there's a point where I don't want to cross. I don't want to fucking like, hey kiddies, watch my 30-second, you know, like, and do things that target like you, because that's where Midlife Crisis really fucking becomes glaringly apparent. Like where I'm trying to connect to the youth. I'm trying to make things that speak to the youth, man. I'm trying to be hip and cool. It's like, God, no. I don't want to be hip and cool. I just want to, I don't know what I want. You know what I want? I want to go fucking hiking for the rest of my natural life. That's what I want to do. That's all I want to do. If I could figure out a way to take all the money that I've made and pool it all together and basically just live on that for the rest of my life while hiking, that's what I would do. And I would be a happy motherfucker doing it too. Because the one true passion I have in life, more than anything else, more than trying to impress other people with my bullshit art, is to go out and see the beauty of nature and be in it and just lose myself in it and just live moment to moment, day by day out there. How do you do, fellow kids? Yep, that'd be me. Ugh, I don't want to be that guy. I can't be that. I would never be that guy. But depending on how things turn out, I'm probably going to, it's like I told my former boss, not my former boss from 7 years ago, my former boss from 5 months ago, because they took me away from her and put me with this new guy, hoping to get some stuff going. It's like I told her though, if things change like a switch, my situational change, my demeanor and my overall thought process and everything will immediately change like a light switch. And I'll just be like, all right, cool. I'm going to be keeping my job. I'm going to be staying with the company. Cool. Now I can get back to the other things that I was worrying about before all that. And it's much less stress, and I'll be much happier. Much happier. But until then, the anxiety continues. Become a tour guide. I thought about that, but that's a lot of stress. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to turn my hiking into work. And that's why I'm being very cautious about the channel. And if you didn't know, I have a hiking channel. It's called The Big Fat Hike. It's on YouTube. I'm very, very careful about not turning that into a YouTube channel. And, you know, where I'm doing it for an audience, I'm doing it for views, and I'm going to certain places because that's what people want to see. And I'm making my videos appeal to people in a certain way. Like, my hiking is my release. It's my escape. It's my replacement for alcohol, to be perfectly honest. It is my escape. And I can't tarnish that by putting money on it, a dollar value on it, or trying to make it a job or anything like that. Like I have a friend who got a job with the Illinois DNR, or he goes out to state parks and does video work and shoots these videos of these parks. And I'm like, that sounds cool. But then I think about it and I'm like, no, I wouldn't want to turn that into my work. I wouldn't want to turn going to parks into my work. It's like, I need that to be free. Yeah, it's for me. It's absolutely just for me. I mean, one of the I have already made the decision that well, I don't know. I'm thinking about it. If I lose my gig this year, I fully intend to try. I'm going to look into it. I'm not certain if I'm going to do it, but I'm really strongly thinking about hiking the Appalachian Trail next year if I lose my gig this year. Through hiking it, like the whole 2,200 miles. Now, I don't know if I can do it alone. It'll be very, very tough. I'm very much not a alone kind of person. I did the River to River Trail 2 years ago, or almost 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. And that was 160 miles, and that damn near killed me. So 2,200 miles, that's like going to be 6 months by myself. Fuck, man, I don't know. That's, and also it would destroy my wife because it's like her fantasy is to go and hike the AT. And if I go and do it without her, it'll break her. It would literally break her. We may figure out a way. We're still working out some logistics. Our dogs are one of the big, like I told her, we don't have to even hike the whole thing. I mean, we've already been section hiking it for years. I thought, well, if I lose my gig, why don't we just sell the house and sell all our shit, and you leave your job, and then we go hike the AT for like a month. And then when we get off trail, we go move to another state, get jobs, start over. Why not? Fuck it. I mean, it's a big world out there, you know, lots of opportunity, lots of things to try. I can't base the entirety of my life. If all I had to go on was this little corner of the world that I've lived in my entire life, I would already have a gun in my mouth pulling the fucking trigger, because fuck this. There's nothing left here. There's nothing in these cornfields for me to do. I've been wanting to get out of this area for a long, long time, and this might be the perfect opportunity. But one of the things I want to do is definitely throw some miles onto the AT, you know, get out there and do that shit. Now, if we can't do the whole thing, I'd at least like to hike for a month. The reason why I was going to say, well, we could quit our job, sell our house, move away, but hike the AT before then, you know, through hike it. The problem is our dogs. We can't leave our dogs for 6 months. One of our dogs, I said it for the longest time. Our dog Luther, if we do not own him, he's dead. If he's not our dog, he is a dead dog, because no one will put up with his shit. He kills other dogs. He's a handful. He's very difficult I mean, he is a handful, but I love him to death. I can't get rid of him. And I know that no one else would be able to take him. No one else would be able to take care of him. And if he went back to a shelter, he'd die in that shelter, because no one would adopt him. He's too rambunctious and he's too crazy. Jessie, our other Australian Shepherd, she has horrible anxiety, like separation anxiety. She has panic attacks when we're gone. Like if we are gone for like multiple days, she literally flat out starts to like act like she's having a heart attack. It's crazy. And we couldn't leave her for 6 months. There's no way. And now you're probably thinking, well, why don't you take them on the trail? Well, there's some sections where you can't take dogs, and Jessie's too old. She's like 7. I mean, 7 doesn't sound old, but she's had a hard life. Came from a breeder situation. She doesn't handle the heat at all, and she can't do a lot of miles. She kind of gets really weak and can't do it. So I would feel horrible subjecting her to that day in, day out. So as long as we have these dogs, doing the full AT is just not going to happen. But I still suggest we can get a month in before we have to move on with our lives. But again, I got 28 days until I find out for sure. It's It's a clusterfuck. I don't know if anyone else has had this situation or not. Knowing that you're going to be out of a job, or at least potentially going to be out of a job unless they can figure out something to change their mind. But they keep you on the line and don't talk to you for like 6 months and keep you hanging on and lingering and whatever and doubting what you're going to be doing. And it's like, and every time you try to like inquire as to what, if anything's changed, what's going on, you just get ghosted. It's like, I feel like I'm in fucking purgatory half the time, but I don't know. Maybe I'm not alone in this situation. Maybe this is the way it is for a lot of people. I don't know, but it's been rough. I know that. Very rough. I just hope that when it's all concluded, I can keep the weight that I've lost off. Because I don't mind having to lost all this weight. Back when I was 400 pounds, it wasn't, life was a much, much harder. That's the other thing. I'm glad I don't weigh 400 pounds and I'm going through this, because holy shit, I'd be in pain every day and uncomfortable and all the bullshit that was going on back then. It's like, and dealing with all this, I don't think my heart would be able to take it, to be honest. So I don't know. Just waiting to find out, folks. Well, with that said, my wife's about to come home and I'm going to hang out with her. She's been sick for the past 2 weeks, and she's going to get off work, and I want to spend time with her because I don't get to spend very much time with her throughout the week. So I'm going to do that. I would say that I'll be back again some other time this week, but that would be maybe a lie. I don't know. I always make promises like, oh yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. Don't worry. We'll see. Don't count on it. I only do this every once in a while. I should keep more of a schedule, and I don't know. I just don't know. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Dan. And thank you everyone else. Anyone else who's watching. Thank you for indulging my nonsense. And I may stream again. So have fun, have a good night, and I will maybe see you later.